All right. Welcome. Welcome. You back again, once again, time and time again, my friends. And welcome to the live stream. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in between 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be starting the live stream. So come on, hang out, ask some questions, jump in, review some charts with me, maybe even get a free signal. So yeah, that's really what we got going on today. I'm not gonna waste too much of your time. Go down, make sure you drop a thumbs up for the live streams. Trying to be consistent as well. It's a little better. Trying to be consistent as well with the live streams. So just make sure you tap in. You subscribe with the post notifications on so you get updated whenever I do go live with a live stream, or just whenever I post any content in general. You'll be notified and you can go ahead and view it. That way you don't get lost. But let's get right into it. We start out with XAUUSD, and that is on the monthly time frame. On the monthly, we did have a price below previous structure support. It acted as support once, twice, thrice, a fourth time, and this last month broke and closed below this level. But we're starting to retrace back. We had a big impulse to the downside. Retracement is in order. And once again, this is the monthly candle. Just because it is like this right now does not mean that it is the way that it's going to end up printing. But if we look at it on the weekly time frame, you can see that we've had previous structure right in this area. That if we are going to go ahead and make a move to the upside, this area will be broken, and it would be a nice place to look for a retest. But just dropping down on the daily time frame, we are starting to push to the upside, breaking back above structure. And as we are right now, we could possibly see something around in here, this area being used as structure within this currency pair. So we could see a retracement back down into this level before an explosion to the upside once again to create a higher high, because we've had this big impulse. We need a retracement, and then what we're expecting is another explosion to the upside to create another impulse. So that is what I see on XAUUSD. We're going to have a little retracement, a little exhaustion, and then we're going to start to make moves to the upside. If we look at XAGUSD from the monthly time frame, we've had previous structure resistance right in this area. It is now acting as support. We've had a double bottom in this area as well. Come into it once, come into it once again, and we're starting to make a move to the upside, failing to break to the downside, creating a lower low out of this area. So that could be indicative of a push to the upside to go ahead and complete this monthly impulse retracement, impulse to the upside. So it's the most common pattern in the market. We're starting to see it form on the monthly. It's not going to happen in one day, but we can start to look for opportunities, and that way we know we can ride this trade for a while, or at least find multiple trades within this move to the upside. If we look at the weekly time frame, exactly as we pointed out, we wanted to see a break above this structure, previous structure resistance that should now act as support. I want to see that used to help the market move to the upside, and the only way we know how. We've had an impulse retracement, just looking for a next impulse, because ultimately we're setting up for a higher high to be created on the monthly. So we want to see price break above these levels. We just want to go ahead and get in a good position to look for that move to the upside. So that is XAGUSD on the weekly. If we do drop down to the daily time frame, you can see we have a nice impulse breaking structure to the upside. We're starting to get the retracement now within this day. Came down, tapped this area, started to come back, wanting to make a move to the upside, but I still think that this maybe has one more day, possibly tomorrow, before it develops and actually gives me an entry to look for the opportunity to the upside. So XAGUSD, I will be looking for that. If we go down to XBTUSD and we hop to the monthly time frame, what we can see on the monthly is that we've had an area of previous structure, support and resistance. We found a level of support right here. Then we kind of broke back down, stayed below this level, came back, retested this level one more time with this wick, and kind of retrace a little bit, and now we're starting to finally break above this level where we could possibly see more continuation to the upside. If we look at the weekly time frame, you can see that we are starting to make higher lows on this market as it is right now. So we have a low here and we have a low here that is higher than this low. So we're starting to make higher lows, starting to make somewhat higher highs out of this market. We need to see more continuation to the upside before we start to look for possible opportunities, but that's just on the weekly. And if we look on the daily time frame, you can see that we have this level of resistance right in here. If we get to go ahead and get a good break above this level, we can look for the opportunity to the upside after the retracement. Let's go over US oil from the monthly time frame. From the monthly, some of the same things that we saw or seen on XAUUSD. We've had previous structure resistance in this area, broken to the upside, coming back. We want to see that acted as support. We're starting to get the break below and close below, but with this monthly candle, this is the most common pattern in the market. You do just want to see a higher high created out of this area, and that is on the monthly. So that is a big pattern to be looking for. But if we do look on the weekly, you can see that this current weekly candle has a lot of momentum and velocity to the upside. So we are starting to break areas to the upside. I don't know what I just deleted. To where we could possibly see this inverted head and shoulders. I don't know if you can identify it as well as I can, but it's one of my favorite patterns because the success rate on this pattern is pretty high, and then we could see a possible continuation to the upside. So if we get some further continuation, more impulsing to the upside after the retracement back down in this area, if it looks like it's going to show us signs of the next impulse to the upside, I'll be waiting for that opportunity on US oil. EURUSD on the monthly time frame as well. We can see that we were breaking below support, continuing to break below support. We found a level of support in here. Even though we are on the monthly candle, we had a little push, starting to make our way back down, retesting previous structure support, now acting as resistance on the weekly time frame. You can see that it's pretty nice, easy break to the downside, coming back for the retracement, retesting previous structure support, now turned resistance. It would be ideal if this market started to continue to the downside, because if we drop to the daily time frame, you can see that we've had some levels of structure broken. So we have this supply and demand candle right here that we would need to see broken to the downside before we can look for possible sell opportunities. But as it is right now, I would still need it to break above some of these levels up in here before I start to look for buy opportunities on EURUSD. But that could be a possibility. If we go to GBPUSD on the monthly time frame, if we look at just the monthly, we can see that we've had extreme movement to the downside, getting into territories we've never been before, reaching numbers we've never seen before. So extremely bearish, and that is on the monthly time frame. If we do look on the weekly, we have a nice and easy, just the most common pattern in the market. Move to the downside, breaking structure to the downside, coming back for a retracement, retesting previous structure support. That should now act as resistance, and from there you just want to see a continuation to the downside for the trend to continue. And then if we look at the daily, you can see that we've had previous structure support right in this area. We did come into it yesterday, break above it, close above it, and we're starting to break back below that area. It'd be interesting to see how this candle closes within the next 2.5 hours. So if it does start to close like this, there may be a possibility we could look for sales on this market, but we have had an impulse to the downside and an impulse back up. After an impulse, you expect some sort of retracement. So this could be the possible retracement we want to see before the market moves to the upside. But as it is right now, we're still bearish on GBPUSD. Just from an overall perspective, monthly, weekly, and daily, I would like to see more levels broken before I start to look for buy opportunities on this market. If we do slide down to GBPUSD and look at it on the monthly time frame, you can see we've had an extreme push to the downside, breaking structure on the monthly. We have a possible area right in here that is previous structure support that could be acting as resistance if tapped into. So the market is retracing a little bit. We've had extreme bearishness on the weekly as well, impulsing to the downside. Starting the retracement now, which is due. It is normal. But as we look at it right now on AUDUSD, we have a move to the downside. And then we're starting to get not only double bottom, but a triple bottom to the downside, rejecting that area. It would be interesting to see what the market does when it gets up to this area, because that looks like where it is heading. It's failing to break lower. This is the most previous structure that the market attracts. It acts as a magnet. So keep that in mind when you are trading as well. But AUDUSD, I want to see further continuation to the downside, but as we're in this exhaustion phase, nothing really interesting. USDCAD from the monthly time frame, monthly extremely bullish. So retracement is in order. It is normal. We need a retracement in order to continue higher, continue the market trend. We have an impulse to the upside. We're starting the retracement on the weekly. We do have previous structure resistance that should act as support if retested down in this area, really down below. And if we drop to the daily time frame, you can see that we did start what we thought was the next impulse to the upside. We had the retracement, and then we had the start of the next impulse, failed to create a higher high, almost like AUDUSD failed to create a lower low, and now we're starting to make moves to the downside. Depending on how this candle ends, if it does end bearish, which I don't know if it will, by it being a couple more hours and there a possible, say like 100 pips, 110 pips, it would have to move to the downside. AUDUSD doesn't really move that much in that short period of time, but it is possible over the next 2 hours. Could just tank. Anything could happen. But if it does continue to close bearish, and this daily candle does close bearish, we would be looking for a retracement back up to the neckline. But currently, this daily candle has already completed this M formation from the daily time frame. But there could be a possibility we see more retracement and a further move to the downside as well, to go ahead and tap into this area before we start to see the move to the upside. Just keeping that in mind as well. If we go to NZD, USD on the monthly, broken and closed below some structure. Could expect a previous structure support over here. Now turn to resistance over here, and just continue the market trend with a lower low created. If we look at the weekly time frame, you can see that we've had an extreme push to the downside on the weekly. If we come back for a retracement and exhaustion, which is exactly what we need, that would be ideal to see trend continuation. And if we drop down to the daily time frame, you can see that we failed to break lower, to where if we needed a looking for sell opportunities, was looking for a break below this area, and then the retest for the continuation to the downside. Did not get that. We failed to break lower, creating a double bottom in this area, and we're starting to make moves to the upside. This could turn into a possible, I speak about it all the time, W formation, depending on how this day and the next couple days close, where we could see a continuation to the downside, move to the downside for the continuation to the upside. Even though we are currently bearish on the daily, we just broke or retesting this level, didn't clearly break above it and haven't closed because the candle is still forming. So we would need to see some levels of structure broken before we start to look for safe buy opportunities, and that is from a swing trading perspective. If we slide down to USDCHF from the monthly time frame, we are above previous structure resistance that should act as support if it does get retested. So we've had resistance in this area that was broken to the upside, retested quite perfectly, really broke below it, but then retested it and rejected it all the way to the upside. Excuse me. Now I say this in almost every single live stream. It takes a while for these monthly candles to form and close. So this pattern is still intact. We still have the opportunity to see a higher high created on this market, because we are forming the most common pattern in the market, just in simple impulse, breaking above structure, coming back for a retracement, retesting the previous structure that was broken, and then continuing the trend to make a higher high. Right now, as the monthly candle is, it is bearish, but that is not the way that it's going to close. We still have days before, almost a whole month. If we look at the weekly time frame, you can see that we're at this area of previous structure resistance. Could possibly provide some sort of retracement that could further continue to the upside, because we have broken several levels of structure. So we have move up, move down, higher high created, higher low created, higher high created. We just want to see a higher low for a higher high to be created, the most common pattern in the market. And if we do drop down to the daily time frame, we can see that we failed to break higher from this area. So correlating pairs, once again, majority of them, all of them have the USD in the currency pair. So they're going to either negatively correlate or positively correlate. They're either going to look the same or look the opposite of each other, because correlating pairs tend to move the same. If we look at USDCHF from a monthly or a daily time frame, daily perspective, you can see we failed to break higher, creating a double top in this area. You know, after a double top, what you would like to see is a break below the neckline, and then from there we'd be in a great M formation, M pattern that we want to see completed at the neckline as well. So we have a couple possibilities for this pair that could happen, but still want to see further continuation to the downside before we make any decisions if that's what the market wants to do. We would need to break these levels of structure on the daily before we start to look for possible buy opportunities. So not really too interesting on this pair. If we do go to USDJPY and look at it from a monthly time frame, we can see that from the monthly we are pushing to the upside quite aggressively, making moves to the upside, but we do have previous structure resistance that should now act as support right in this area that we could see the market make a move to. On the weekly, we are quite overextended, and that is from a weekly time frame. All these candles, weak candles, strong candles, are starting to come up in this area. We've had previous structure resistance right here. We're starting to find that resistance and kind of change the momentum to the downside, to where if we get a retest of this area, we could look for possible continuations to the upside just from a weekly perspective. And if we look at the daily time frame, you can see we're broken above all this area of structure that we previously identified, and then you can see that we've had an area of resistance here, area of resistance here, area of resistance here, area of resistance here, and an area of resistance here, and we're starting to make moves to the downside. Don't be worried if we look at it from a monthly time frame. Jumping back once again, a retracement is due for trend continuation. So we kind of need this retracement on the daily time frame. Last time we spoke about this, we wanted to see the market break above this level of resistance before we start to look for buy opportunities, just keeping it safe. And you can see that since we did not go ahead and anticipate or try to jump in this trade guessing on what the market's going to do with low probabilities, we just did not trade, and from there it's kept us out of losing trades. This trade would have probably gone into profit a little bit, not enough for us to go risk-free, or enough for me to go risk-free, and then been trending towards the stop loss. So this is an example of waiting for your rules to be satisfied before you actually get into the market. Oh man, excuse me, scare me. I don't know how long that's been up there, but scare me. But yeah, we are at this level of resistance right in here. If we get some sort of retracement, we could possibly look for further trend continuation to the upside if that's what the market wants to do. So that's pretty much all the majors, man. We usually come down and talk about BTCUSD as well. So let's go ahead and do that. We're on the monthly time frame, so things don't change as quickly. But we still have previous structure resistance here, where we want to see it used as support over in this area. We've kind of identified that 18,000, 17,005 area has been holding price. Price does not want to break below this area. We are finding some support right on the previous structure resistance that should act as support in this area from a weekly time frame. If we continue to push up, we would have a situation where we would have an inverted head and shoulders here with the head here. Price continue to the upside, come back, retest this area here, and then continue to the upside But as it is right now, we're still bearish. We're still below some structure that we would need to see broken to the upside before we start to identify this as bullish, and that is from the weekly time frame. Now, if we do drop down to the daily time frame, you can see that we've gotten exactly, almost exactly as what we wanted to see. But we wanted to see the break above structure here, then come back for the retracement. We got rejected. Then we finally broke above the structure here. Now we're starting to get the retracement, rejecting from previous structure resistance, not only once, twice, thrice, and a fourth time as well. We are starting to get the rejection right now, but we could see further continuation down before the move to the upside is actually made. Now, once again, I've said this on multiple live streams. I do not expect Bitcoin until 2024, when the next halving event happens, to make the explosion to the upside like everyone is anticipating. But that is my projection. In 2024, when the halving event happens, we will see another explosion to the upside like we did over here, because this is exactly the last time we had the halving event and the market made this big run to the upside. So with a lot of Bitcoins going into cold storage, of people are taking them off the exchanges, not actively trading them, they're keeping them in their wallet, forgetting about them. That will really push price to the upside when that halving event does come, because there will be a lot more Bitcoin available for people to purchase. But that is pretty much it. That's pretty much it, man. Check the chat. Got no chats, no pairs, nothing nobody wants me to look at, take a look at. That's fine. That's fine. But that's pretty much it, man. We're going to keep them short and sweet. Yeah, 20, 30 minutes. Unless I'm told otherwise or asked otherwise by the chat. Always get in there. I would appreciate you just hop in. Say something. Don't be afraid. I'm a nice guy. I like to think. I'm a fun guy. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, in between 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be starting the live stream. We'll be on here for a little minute, just kicking it until you guys want me to stay longer or go over some more pairs or do some other things like that. It's really up to you, the viewer. So take advantage. Take advantage. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I'ma holla at y'all. I hope you've had a profitable day on and off the charts today. And I hope that continues for the rest of the week for you. That's it. That's it and that's all, folks. That's all she wrote.